Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bacon, I make plans for 7:45, and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Well, good evening, CFN, and all you wicked people. Look at all you wicked people. How you doing, Tricia? Steve Shaw's in the house. I'll thank Steve right up off the bat for doing all the tagging tonight, as he always does. As I said, his work behind the scenes is just as hard sometimes as what I do in front of all of you. But big shout out to Steve for all that, as well as all the edits that him and Walter continuously do to bring our community together. Jeanette's in the house. How you doing, Jeanette? Tony. How's Tony today? James Shembry. Yeah, baby. Eve's with us. Curtis, how you doing, my friend? Lloyd's in the house. Lloyd with the new grandbaby. I don't know if it's a son or a daughter. I apologize, Lloyd. But new youngin' in the house. Kevin's in the house. How you doing, Kevin? Dwayne Bennett and our Dynamite Plastics are with us. J Bar News. I was just thinking that. Yes, absolutely. What's that? What is support grandfather, father, brother? Yeah. Great Movember. I really like that, Steve. Thanks for reminding all of us. There are some really cool people and some friends of mine that are going to be doing some fundraising in regards to that. So a great month to help prostate cancer and all cancers when it comes to the education and the research. We can't give enough, whether you believe there's a cure out there or not. Even if there is, let's hope that we're helping fundraise to make sure there's enough of it for all of us, so that if, God forbid, you get diagnosed with that dreaded thing. I don't even want to say it. There is going to be an option for you. That's what everybody needs, right? In life, options. You need options. It sucks when you don't have options. Jim's on strike tonight. Wow. I don't know what that's going to look like, but he's been into the catnip. You could definitely tell he's in a good mood. That's why we're a little bit late. We couldn't decide on a topic. It almost became orcas, and unfortunately, the three others of us voted it down. So Jim's in a mood. He's in a bit of a mood. But anyway, we'll talk about orcas another day, Jim. I promise you that. Christina's in the house. How you doing, Christina? It's great seeing all of you. It was great seeing all of you dressing up for Halloween, getting ready for what was a ghoulish weekend. I think Halloween would have been better if it was on the Saturday or maybe even the Friday. A Sunday, I don't know what it was like trying to get these kids to bed, let alone getting up in the morning with the sugar rush that they probably had. Teachers, if you're a teacher, I'm sure Monday was just pure hell for you, because not only did they have it in their system, I'm sure they had it in their pockets, and yeah, that's all you need. A classroom full of kids hopped up on sugar. Sounds like fun. So to all you teachers, hats off to you for putting up with that. Wanted to also give you a heads up in regards to Ladies Night is going to be returning November 15th. Our guest host, of course, is Yvonne Brown. She's going to be joining me. The special guest she's really excited about. It's actually a really cool background story that she's already shared to me. Her name is Charlene Lavalle. Charlene is well known because of her uncle, who she is doing a documentary on. Anyway, Yvonne is over the moon in regards to this guest, and you'll understand why. So it's not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, November 15th. So stay tuned to that. Ladies Night returns here on CFN. And also, just a reminder, our North Shore Tackle contest giveaway is still on. We've had some incredible submissions already so far. A lot of people looking to hopefully win this, because multiple submissions are allowed. and multiple submissions we have. So a good luck to everyone who has entered. But if you want to enter yourself, it's a great prize pack that's been offered up for North Shore. It is geared towards the steelhead season, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a steelhead post. You can post bass, walleye, panfish, whatever, as long as it has some North Shore swag, a North Shore logo, or North Shore product shown in the picture or video. Really cool to see the videos. But as long as it has the product, it has swag, or it has the logo. All three will apply and be a successful submission. So I look forward to seeing a whole bunch more. But to all those who have already put in their submissions, thank you. And just in case anyone that went to the CFN retreat doesn't know, if you did go and you presented us a thank you to North Shore Tackle at our CFN retreat event, you have already qualified. So congratulations to Christina, to Tyler Brooks, to Mark Albeck, and a whole bunch of others that have already done so. How's Barry and Sally? I can't keep up with you two. Like, where are you now? I think you were up with Babs up in Barry. You were out in Manitoba. You went out to see Dwayne. I think you were fishing with Dwayne Bennett. So where are you now? Like, hi from Bowmanville. Oh man, I tell you, you're gonna have to buy a new set of rubbers for that truck of yours. You guys are wearing the rubber right down to the steel. I'll tell you, you guys are driving all over the place. Anyway, it's great to see you, seeing all of our community, getting close with some of the folks that we can only put faces to, but you put videos to and do some things with them. That's really, really cool. Thanks for you two for reaching out and connecting our community the way we do. Really, it's really cool. Really appreciate that. Thanks for that. Steve, hi from Long Point. John, how you doing? You're new to the show. I don't think I've seen your name before. How about Pat Pumpback Wells? Well, I'm going to tell you this. Since we didn't come up with a significant topic, we can certainly discuss something that you guys want to put up in the comments. We do have some plan Bs and Cs. But yes, anything that is a mammal is not going to be spoken about tonight. Sorry, Pat. Sorry, Jim, and anybody else who loves it. It's not that we don't love mammals. Love your mammals. There's nothing wrong. We're mammals too. Love your mammals, but we're talking fish tonight. And I think what we might talk about is something that Steve Shaw had discussed with me earlier today when he asked me, do you have a topic? Nope, no idea. That's what I love about Mondays. Sometimes it's better just to fly by the seat of your pants and see how it goes. If anybody has any announcements or anything that they want to mention, make sure you post it in the comments. We will certainly share it as time goes on. It is the Power Hour. We're going to try and wrap this up in an hour, as we do each and every Monday. As I said, the discussion is probably going to mirror what's going on outside and around us. It is a transition time, right? It's a transition time when it comes to the weather. It's a transition time when it comes to putting stuff away, getting stuff ready for the hard water season. So as much as the fish are in transition, the weather's in transition, we as anglers are in transition as well. So we will be discussing that in addition to anything else that you guys want us to talk about. But we'll get it all. We'll start it all off with this video and a word from our sponsor before we hear from Jim McLaughlin. Yeah, baby. Big Jim's in the house. How you doing tonight, big guy?
I'm on strike.
I know. I'm sorry about the Orcas. We'll try and
I
make it up.
told you, no work until Big Jim.
Well, maybe if there are Orcas, maybe there won't be a Big Jim either. I don't know. It all depends. But yes, Jim, at some point we will talk about mammals. I promise you. Some great topics have come up in the comments, though. One of which came from Mad Camp Plastics, and it is a discussion that he's looking for when it comes to the new regs for bait fish. All I can say is stay tuned because that has been shared amongst the panel here. We are doing our homework so that when we do that broadcast, we are all educated on what the new regs are because it is somewhat extensive. It's pretty clear cut in some areas, but in others, you're going to need a bit of an explanation. So we're going to do our very best to not only reach out to the people who have implemented those regs, but also those who are going to be affected and find out the brass tacks on all that. So stay tuned to that, Madcam. But great topic that you brought up, Jim. As I said, this is a time of transition, and as much as the fish are transitioning to their winter holds, us anglers are getting ready to target them in their winter holds. So we have all of our softwater stuff to put away. You got to think about, winterizing the boat, maybe getting some of the ice fishing
Oh,
stuff.
no, you leave that till the weekend before walleye opens next spring, and then you do it then.
Yeah.
It's like get your reels clean. The guys at Shimano laugh. Guys walk in with a paper bag like 2 days before the season. Can you fix this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring it in last fall? I forgot to.
It's a great point you bring up because we're good at procrastinating on stuff that has to get done. But when you have that kind of option and those kind of facilities available to you, and COVID is allowing that to be even more user friendly than it was last year, as it's relinquishing its grip. Take advantage of it. I don't think it's yes, you might have to mail something in or you might have to physically drop it off. But what they'll do to your reel and how they'll service it, it's well worth the trip.
Oh yeah, and it's taking care of your investment.
Yeah,
I always tell that to people. They tell me, I have guys call me up and say, "Oh, I got this reel. Oh, you should have dropped it off at Shimano. Oh yeah, well, I broke it a couple of years ago, or it's not working. Why haven't you got it fixed? That's what it's there for. That's what the service is for. And I mean, those guys, when they clean a reel, they take it apart, they completely strip it down, put all the parts in the little machine that cleans it, bathes it all, and it just it doesn't get any better. So it's something that you're. Hey, just one quick thing before we go on. I was just making this while I was playing, so I made this really nice spinner bait.
Nice.
Okay, pretty sharp looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ivory and pink. It's a nice willow leaf blade, ball bearing swivel, the whole deal. Anybody who puts Orca in the comments, I will mail this I'll pick one and I'll pick it. So I just wanted to put the Orca at the top of the list. Don't write killer whale.
Yes, unfortunately, Jim is offended when you say killer whale, and I believe there's others that Jim represents that are equally as offended. So we will not call them killer whales anymore. We will refer to them as orcas.
You ever watch the meet a seal?
Okay,
it's
you're
like
getting lots
me at the buffet.
Dude, I'm really hoping that you're going to be the one that's organizing this because Orca is popping up left, right, and center. Holy smokes!
Yeah, baby. Take that, Lawrence Gunther.
Oh man!
I gotta tell everybody that they would be far more entertained if we were to start the show. It would be over in 15 minutes. But if they were to start the show 15 minutes before we actually go on and just let them listen to the antics for 15 minutes, they'd be laughing so hard that it would be done.
You're right, Jim. The only problem is we'd have to change the rating on the show. It would no longer be able to be viewed by all family members.
Not me. Not me.
Yeah, you know what? As much as I would love to say this, you look at that face. How can you not trust that face? Well, listen, as God is my witness, we are little kids sometimes behind the scenes. We have a lot of fun, and yes, Jim, you're 100% right. Sometimes a little bit
I
more
will
fun.
never grow up.
But yeah, they
One of my
are.
grandkids asked me that once.
Well, listen, when this show really hits, when we make it, Jim, and you've got ESPN or maybe A&E, they're going to do a documentary on this show because we've been around for so long. They're going to get to see some of the behind the scenes, and I just hope we all live that long.
You're recording that stuff?
Yeah. Rated R Mondays.
You know, I have a twin brother that sits in before me.
Wow. Well, yeah, but you've got yourself a lot of orcas. There's a lot of orca lovers out there, so good luck with that. But yeah, anybody who wants a chance to win that incredible spinnerbait that Jim was just holding up, all you got to do is type orca in the comments, and away you go. We'll pick a name next week. Jim, as I said, we're in transition. Something that we were talking about before we went to air is, and it's a question that I want to ask you. This is how I'm going to start it off. But you see. It seems to me anyway that the springs seem to be shortening and the falls seem to be shortening. Either we go straight into summer or we go straight into winter, which in my opinion, I don't know how much stress that puts on the fish or if it does anything to them at all. But one question I wanted to ask you leading into this, the low pressures that we have, like these weather events that go through like we had this weekend, right? That was an incredible rainmaker, big weather event. That cold pressure that went through this time of year, does it have the same effect on the fish as, say, a cold front that goes through in the summer?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Mind you, I fished last night out there out the back. I didn't get a bite, but I mean, when you're fishing from one spot in the shore, it's I went out and chucked a new chatterbait I got around for about 10 minutes out there, and I did have something flash at it right in front of me.
Yeah.
Just as I was about to take it out of the water, I think it was just a pike, but I would have been saying just a pike if I would have caught it. It would have been a good one. But no, it's definitely true. There's nothing worse for the fish than the summertime. You get like 2 weeks and it's 85 degrees and real stability, and you get a cold front in the middle of the summer, which we don't seem to get as bad as we were in recent years. It seems like everything's just sort of flows into one another now. Like spring just sort of pops up and then it's gone to summer. Then summer just boom goes to fall. I don't know. You always get like, I can't believe it. Like we haven't had a frost here this year.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Later this week, like they're showing like -4.
Yeah.
So we're going to get frost, but we haven't had one yet and it's November.
Yeah.
The leaves are still green on the trees, like some of them here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this is the thing. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm alone, but it just seems like we never seem to have a fall season. No. We have that transition from summer to winter. It's like the temperature drops from say 23, 24 degrees to like 9, and then the very next day you're into a cold snap, which could be anything from -2 to -22. But it just seems to me that the seasonal transitions are shortening when it comes to the springs and the falls. And then, of course, our summers seem to be longer. Some could argue that our winters are a little bit longer. I know folks out west, they were dealing with 4 feet of ice at some points in April. So
yeah, but when you look at the weather for the country, out west has been cold and we've been it's a different deal, eh?
Yeah.
And that's those La Niños and El Niños and whatever. I guess that's shifting right now or something too. I saw on the Weather Network the other day, they did a big thing about it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It's like you just get on with it. Like there's nothing we're going to do about it. It's what it is.
No, 100%. It just the unfortunate thing is, and you could look at it. There's a positive spin to it as well, Jim, because really, that transition sometimes it seems to drag on. I know in years past it drags on. People can't wait for the ice to form, the water to freeze so they can get out and ice fishing, because that transition time, unless you are a diehard steelheader, you're waiting for that ice bite. You're waiting for that hard water to harden up and thicken up so you can get out on that. So the less time that we got to wait, maybe the better it is. I just don't know what effect that has on the fish, on the water, on the organisms in the water, what feeds the fish, all that stuff. I don't know.
This isn't anything the fish haven't seen before.
Yep.
And lived through. We have dry spells. I remember about 15 years ago, we had a real dry spell here. I was living outside Brockville at the time, and all the leaves fell off the trees at the Big Rito on one side, on the high side by where the park is, because the trees are literally growing out of the rock, and cracks in the rock. They got dry. It didn't rain for 6 weeks, and the trees spit off their leaves. Really, the trees are all going to be dead. No, the trees aren't going to be all dead. That's what the trees do to save themselves, And this is, and then you look at it now. They're like the next year they were just as nice as ever, if not nicer. They just rejuvenate themselves. And I talked with my buddy out here at the airport in Ottawa, and I asked him. I said, "Have we broken any temperatures like records for the highest temperature at night, like with it not getting cool?" And he says, "No, we haven't at all." So everybody's freaking out, running around. The sky's falling. There's no records being broken. And, you look at it. I remember one day here last summer, we broke a record for the heat. It was the first week of June. It was like 92 degrees in Kingston or something, the official temperature, something like that. I don't know exactly, but it was stupid hot. And I went and looked for the record temperature. And the record that we broke by 1/10 of a degree or something was like from 1946. So in 1946, it was just as hot, and it meant nothing.
Yeah.
And when you look back at the records like that, they don't lie.
True.
That's what keep them from.
It is true. Yeah. And Mad Cam, you're right. The winters haven't been all that great lately. Last year, it took forever for some of the big water to freeze up. So yeah,
and it did, but a lot of it didn't freeze.
A lot of it didn't. You're right. I know you and I talked about it. How terrified we were of folks going out on that thin ice, risking it. And unfortunately, we did lose some near and dear anglers from our community last year, unfortunately, because of that stuff. But anyway, hopefully it doesn't happen this year. I would say that Jay and myself are in agreement, and I'm sure the rest of you two are in agreement as well. Winter's coming, and I think it's going to be a little bit earlier and a little bit harder based on what they're seeing in terms of the weather reports.
So I got to try something. I got a package the other day. It was from a courier, overnight courier. And the guys and I don't work with these guys. I'm not sponsored by them or nothing. I just know a lot of people. And I got these. That's that new big blade chatterbait.
Yeah.
You can see this. You can see the size of this thing. It's the size of my hand. It's a big bait. It's huge. So I go down the back and I toss it around down there last night. I didn't catch anything, but like the fish they've pretty well left the bay now. Like it's a shallow spot. They're gone. It's done. And there's no deep water near. So once they go, they're not coming back to where I am. But I'll tell you, when that thing's working. I swear to God, I came up here last night. I came in the house. I picked up the remote. We were going to watch, what's the zombie show called there? The
Walking Dead?
Yeah. Walking Dead. I love that. I watched it. And don't judge me now.
I'm not judging.
I pick up the converter, and I swear my hand was shaking from having been holding the rod and reel with the vibration.
Really?
Oh, it was like stupid. I only made like maybe 75 casts. I could not believe the vibration that thing puts out. But that's just one little thing that I got this week. And then my buddy Peter Cito, everybody knows Peter. He left me some of these the other day for me to pick up these little weenie Z-Vibes.
Oh, the Wonder Bread. Oh.
Yeah, in Wonder Bread. And they're so small, like they're like they go on my thumbnail. Like, you can see my thumbnail. It would sit on my thumbnail.
Now, have they always come with the trailer hook? Those?
Yeah, see, they've got the single hook on them.
Yeah, but have they always come with the trailer? I've never seen them with the trailer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he left me a few, and I really like this color, which is pretty cool. It's sort of hard to see.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of looks like sort of like cross between a pumpkin seed and a perch or something. Yeah, out there. Our buddy Jamie at True North Baits.
Yep.
he's got some of the new stuff that he's got out there for pan fishing. Just the coolest little things. Wow. Little balls on the tail to make sure there's always action. And once again, these things are really, really small. It's got all kinds of little weenie.
Oh,
I know.
Those at the retreat, Jim, those there were deadly.
The little, the weenie ones?
The ones that you just showed, that one?
Yeah, the little ones. Hey, really?
Oh, deadly. And
then this little thing here. It's so small. It just caught my eye, and I just love it. But, yeah, he sent me over a bunch. And then I did this a couple of years ago. I had a bag of worms. It might have been the guys from North Shore Tackle. It might have been them. Somebody gave them to me at Gagnon's years ago.
Okay.
And it was when they were just first starting it. And I put it into my panfish box. Oh, wait, you know what? But I put it in my panfish box, and I couldn't believe. Let me find it. Maybe it's still on it.
I see Christina. While we're waiting for Jim to come back, Christina. Yeah. Folks, I'd love for you to put in where you would love, or you're really looking forward to heading out for your first hard water adventure, your first water journey, where you're hoping to go, what you're hoping to target. I see Christina's put that down, as well as Kevin. Throw them in there. I'd love to find out where all of you folks are planning to go.
I found the worms, but I can't tell. That's the bag he gave me. They were a little smaller, but okay. I just caught the heck out of fish with them. I demoed them with those. They were just, I'd never fished with little weenie worms like that before, but I want to try wacky rigging for crappie next spring with these.
Oof.
I think they're about 3.5 inches long.
Nice. Maybe and those are from are those from True North?
Yeah, from Jamie. Yeah. Yeah, he sent me a bunch of stuff the other day. He left me a bag on the door handle, but he gave me a whole bag of his mayflies and a bunch of stuff. So I want to give that stuff a real honest shot because it's really, really cool looking. And then I dropped in last week, one of the tours that I had to do, and I dropped into Get Fishing there on Highway 7.
Yeah.
And I found these from, wait, I got another bag here. Grumpy Baits.
Grumpy Baits, yeah.
Little weenie craw. You know me and little craws, so I had to buy a couple of bags of those.
Yeah.
So I got myself a couple of bags of those here I picked up. I'll be giving those a go next year, kind of late now, but you know me, I get into that Texas rigging, little weenie light things, you know?
Yeah.
And fishing on like a sort of a medium light spinning rod and 16th or a 32nd ounce slip weight, but a Texas rig. So, the whole thing's like this long, not like a big Archelon where the whole thing's, half an ounce and stuff on a 4-rod hook or something. But I caught so many fish doing it on days when it was just tough. And it let me make a presentation into the weeds with light line, small baits. And it was one of the days I was out this year, and there was few and far between that I actually got out. And it was really cool to catch like a fish that's like a largemouth that's almost 4 pounds on an 1.5 inch long craw, Texas rigged on a little weenie hook. Like stuff like that is just really, really cool to do, and it just goes to show that it works. So it's something that you really need to look at.
Question for you, John's asking, what about scent on ice rig bait? So some of those plastics you're going to use through the hard water, is it important to use scent?
Yeah, if you're a scent person, when I fished in tournaments, I was big on scent. I was big on it, and I still should be more than I am. I noticed the other day when I was out with Dave Chong and putting scent on, and we're not fishing in a tournament or anything, but I always looked at scent as more of a thing where it took the smell of your fingers away. It took the smell of anything that you might put on that bait away. Covers up the smell of plastic, which is horrible. Fish don't like the smell of plastisol. That's why you always see them. They put oils and oil of anise on it and stuff like that. But another thing that you can use to cover it up, I watch guys fishing a boat and they're fishing a Lindy rig and they get a minnow out of the bucket and they drop the minnow and it's down in the back of the boat by the drain in the water, and there's gas floating on the water from when they connected the gas can, and they take the minnow out and they hook it on, they throw it in, and they wonder why they don't get a bite. Well, when a walleye swims up behind a minnow that's just had a bath in gas, it may not be much to you and you don't see it. But let me tell you, a walleye can smell a lot better than you can.
Yeah.
a lot better. So can a bass or any other fish, you know. So that's why that's to me, you know, it wasn't that I put it on my crankbait because I thought a fish was going to swim from 50 feet away to eat it. It was when he did come to look at it, it might be that little 5% thing that would trigger him to bite it instead of having a look at it. And it was the same with all lures because I mean I've watched over the years, Scotty. I've watched so many fish pull up on a jig or something on the bottom, and they look at it, they go down at it, and then they turn on their side, they look at it, and then they get real close. Well, they're not just looking at it; they're smelling it too. Like, is this something real? And quite often, you'll see them give it a little taste. When you see them just give it like they'll grab something like maybe the tail or some stuff like that. And if you've got scent and you know they get a really good taste, that's when you see them do that little taste, and then they just suck it in because it passed the test.
Yeah.
That's you know, that's when scent comes to be a big thing.
Jim, as always, we always seem to run out of time real quick. It flies by. But for some of the baits that Jim showed, there's the link. Steve is passing us the TrueNorthBaits.com link. And Christine was kind enough to post a 10% discount off the purchase of some of your True North baits. So,
hey, Christine, you and me, 50-50.
Right on. Well, as I said, as the hardwater season is coming, some of us are looking forward to using some of those plastics vertically. Christina, I'm with you. I'm looking forward to dropping a TN 50 and rattling the heck out of the water. And yeah, as I said, nothing I enjoy but listening to that rattle bait under the ice echo through the entire hut. But Jim, thanks so much for doing this each and every Monday with us. Can't thank you enough. We'll see you next Monday. And do we have an update on Fireside Chat?
No.
Not yet. Okay.
No, I don't want to say it just in case because he hasn't come back and said yes.
Okay. No problem, buddy.
Yep.
In the meantime, you take care of yourself.
Awesome, guys. Enjoy. Have a good night. Thanks, buddy.
Peace. Always a pleasure to see and hear from Jim each and every Monday. I get the pleasure of talking to him, and I'm sure some of you do on social media as well. He always makes time for this community, truly loves this community, and we love him right back. Before we bring on Lawrence, here's a word from our sponsor.
When it comes to Canadian food, we've got your back with flavors like lemon pepper, beer batter, campfire barbecue, lemon pepper dill, garlic butter and chives, and crispy Cajun. We've got a mix for every meal. Whether you're serving East Coast shrimp, West Coast salmon, succulent walleye, chicken wings, or veggies, we've got you covered. Coat your food in outdoor flavors. Available online or at these fine retailers.
Lawrence Gunther in the house. How you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I had fish for supper tonight, but it didn't have any of that yummy stuff on it. It was good, though. It was good.
You know what? It doesn't necessarily have to have it. It just makes it more gooder.
Gooder's better.
I will say this. What fish did you have tonight, by the way?
Salmon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, is it a sustainable fishery that you're consuming?
You know what? Nowadays, if you buy wild salmon, it's probably, you know, it's sketchy if it's sustainably harvested on the West Coast or not, right? You know, given the state of some of the salmon stocks out there. And if you buy, so what I do is we elected for the sort of organic antibiotic free stuff. So, you know, aquaculture fish without some of the nasties. A little bit cheaper, but I'd rather leave the wild ones alone in the ocean and let the anglers catch them, let the orcas catch them. Oh, sorry, killer whales.
Oof. Oh, you just got put on the naughty list. He's coming. Oh, I can feel it. Yeah, furniture's flying around in Cedar Bay right about now.
But when Big Jim is describing that bass going up on that jig, you know, you can just see it in your mind, right? Like you visualize the whole thing, the way he tells that story, the way he talks about that fish, sniffing and smelling and tasting and chewing on his jig. It's amazing.
And the passion he has. Like it's like he's doing it for the first time. That's what I truly
love it.
am inspired. He's been on this earth longer than you and I. not to get in that, not that that's a big deal,
Get
but
together, combined.
no, I wouldn't. Oh, first killer way. Oh, Lawrence, you are going to get it. But the fact that he gets so excited,
Yeah,
is truly what I'm sort of enamored by, is that he's like a kid, and
Yeah.
as you mentioned, he's never going to grow up, and I'm kind of glad about that. I'm happy about that. He's a lot of fun. Now, speaking of you, when it comes to this transition time, and of course, if anybody doesn't know Lawrence Gunther, he has a vision disability. This transition period, I guess you kind of appreciate the fact that perhaps these falls and springs are shorter, so that you don't have that lag. I would imagine it's a little bit different from your perspective when it comes to these transitions, when it's soft water and early fall, then we get into that late fall. Unless you're a steelheader and you love to river fish, you're really waiting for that water to harden so you can get out and enjoy your next season of angling. How do you pass the time during that transition period?
Well, I still got the boat out. This boat's still going out, and I'll keep that boat going out until it snows. And I'm fortunate. I keep a boat for a year, so I don't want to run it in any sort of salt slush conditions or when there's ice on the ramp. A little dangerous. So as soon as the ice is built up on the ramp, or there's a salt or it's snowed and they're starting to salt the roads, I bring the boat in, and I have it winterized and put away. And but up until then, now it's like this week and next week, some of the prime musky fishing going on. The water temperature in the Otto River is 50 degrees. It's going to drop into the 40s next week. It'll be trolling. Next week it'll be trolling. Later next week it'll be trolling for sure. Not so much casting anymore. Now it's jerk baits, glide baits. And the fish are moving around, and the walleye too. The walleye are coming in every afternoon out of the deep channel of the Otto River into the shallows. Like, when shallows, I mean 8, 10, 6 feet to feed, and good numbers. So that's a very small window of opportunity. From about 3 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's done. And but it can be a good frantic little fishing, and everyone, you can put as many people on the boat as you want. So I love these things. I'm always careful though, because you get these flotation suits, right? The one piece flotation, 2-piece flotation, whatever, and you think, oh, now I'm protected. But these are not dry suits. They're not the kind of suits that people on oil rigs wear. If they fall out, or on fishing boats, if they fall out, they're going to float around for a few hours. They're going to be dry inside their flotation suit. These are just flotation suits. That means the water's going to get inside that suit just as quickly as you fall in. And maybe if you don't move around too much, you'll be able to warm up that water between your body and the inside layer of that suit. But you're still going to succumb to hypothermia, right? If you don't manage to get out within an hour or so.
Yeah.
It's not a ticket to get out of jail. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful.
100%. And so, absolutely, you're getting geared up and getting ready for hard water. And you're talking about the migration of fish, and it's so funny. Our community, man, I tell you, we're linked in the brain. When I was starting to see some of the pics of walleye, because, as I said, whether it's the Red River or whether it's the Bay of Quinte or even Lake Erie and the Detroit River and St. Clair, walleye have that migration. And this time of year, they're starting to come into the shallows. They're following the bait fish. And this came into, I was thinking the exact same thing as Richard Dunlop when I'm starting to see all these pictures with the price of, well, let's say everything is going up, whether it's gas, whether it's food, what have you. With the price of fish, or ultimately the ability to target fish is going up, do you see people keeping more fish?
They should. I think they should, because I'm buying that farm raised salmon for almost $25 a pound, right? When you can go out in Lake Ontario and catch Pacific and coho salmon, which they're going to die in 5 years. After 5 years, and most of them will never achieve a place where they can spawn. A lot of rivers, they just don't want them. People don't want them spawning in those rivers for good reasons or different reasons. They're there to be caught and eaten. And if you're careful and you eat the right amount and you don't overdo it, you can safely eat those fish. We should be eating fish. We should be eating fish that are meant to be eaten, not, muskie or lunker bass or trophies. Those should go back. But there's lots of fish species out there we should be eating: catfish and whitefish and these salmon, these put and take fisheries, these little lakes where they they put 1,500 eatable size fish in there last spring, 6-8 inch fish, and now they're going to be 10 inches, 12 inches, and they're going to be good to eat. So get in there and get them, because as soon as the ice gets on that little lake, the ice fishers are going to hit it, and they're going to take the last of them out of there, and until the next spring when the ministry puts them back in again. These are put and take fisheries. We should be feeding our family with this fresh fish. That's what nature put it there for. It's a good thing.
No, great point. And yes, I do see a higher yield. I'm hoping it's going to be on the up and up. I hope people follow the rules. Unfortunately, there's there's a few of us out there that do not. There are a lot of us that do. One thing, Christina, yes, we are going to be posting that. I have an edit done for that for Wednesday. What was really cool about seeing that 32-inch, and this is like a unicorn fish for Lake Temagami, to get a fish that size, 32 inches in size.
Huge.
I don't know. They didn't weigh it because I guess their intent was to release it. They expected it to be around the 15 to 17 pound mark.
Wow.
If that's the case, based on its dimensions, that is a true unicorn Lake Temagami used to have some big giants. You don't see big giants like that very often out of that fishery. But the best part of that whole story was they released it back into the wild.
Yeah. Good genetics. Keep those
so,
genetics.
When it comes to what Lawrence is saying, selective harvest is something that we need to pay focus to. I think it is a great idea. It'll hopefully get a lot more folks out fishing. If they know that they can keep these fish and not do any harm to the fishery, but also provide a good feed for the family that is reasonable. Because let's be honest, we're all looking for economical ways to feed our family and spend our entertainment dollars on.
I agree, Scotty, and it's beyond the economic value too, right? The idea of going out there and bringing food home and involve your children in the harvest of their food and your spouses, it's an act of believing in nature. It's an act in believing in, that nature's good, that, things are good, and they are good. We're so very fortunate to be living in this country. The fish are beautiful. The country's beautiful. We have wild game and fish, we have hunting and fishing seasons that allow for us to harvest these animals. And we should be rejoicing in that and celebrating that and sharing that with our families and our friends and bringing that to our celebrations, like Thanksgiving and Christmas and birthday parties. This is who we are.
Yeah. 100%. And, as Ed is saying here, when it comes to farm raised, I know that a lot of people have this same opinion, that they won't eat it. It doesn't taste very good. And depending on where it is raised, it could be toxic. I know I bring this up all the time about shrimp. I love eating shrimp. And it upsets me that we don't have the ability to purchase domestic shrimp, or at least shrimp that is caught in the States, right? Like there's a whole flotilla of shrimp boats down in the Gulf of Mexico. I'd love to eat Gulf of Mexico shrimp, but
North Atlantic shrimp, those little tiny ones,
100%.
They're great, fantastic food.
All you see in the shrimp aisle at the supermarket is from Vietnam, from
nasty shrimp,
and that kind of farming that goes on over there. It's best left over there.
Oh yeah. Look, 95% of the seafood that's farmed is farmed in sort of contained areas, right? Whether they're ponds or whether they're pools, whether they're tanks, 95% of aquaculture is contained. It's only the salmonoids, right? The Atlantic salmon pens that we have on the west and east coast of Canada and a few other countries around the world that make up the other 5%. And that's really, super profitable fish, right? That's super expensive fish, the salmon, when they're selling it for $25, $30 a pound. that's, saying it's organic and antibiotic free and cranking the price up even more. And the damage it's causing to society and to the ecosystem is uncalculable. You can't calculate that. But there's so many other seafood products that you can buy that's raised in aquaculture, that's raised sustainably, and it's healthy to eat, and the catfish and tilapia, it's so cheap. It's so cheap and it's so good for you. It just don't get the tilapia again from, Asian countries, because the water isn't as, tilapia tastes exactly what's in the water. If you get tilapia raised in the United States, you're going to have good, good food. It's a good flaky white fish. You can bread it with all those yummy breadings. It's totally sustainable and it's totally inexpensive. For sure, it's a good deal. Just make sure you're getting it out of the States. I mean, there's a lot of carp grown. Carp is the number one aquaculture grown fish in the world. Carp, common carp. But we don't eat it. We don't eat it. No, it is. Yeah, it is. It's the number one grown fish in the world for human consumption. Common carp, and it's all consumed throughout Asia.
Okay, well, I learned something tonight. I didn't realize it was carp. Interesting. Some wicked links that have been put up here. Christina's asking, she wants to do some walleye tacos. What do you recommend on dressing or toppings for those tacos?
Well, you could probably answer that way better than me, Scotty. You were involved with all these.
I know, but unfortunately, I'm not picky. To me, all of the above. You can put butter, you can put salt, you can put bacon. To me, yeah. I'll eat it. If it's a fish taco and it's got walleye in it, I'm in.
Yeah, I make a seafood chowder without cream because I'm lactose intolerant. But I cook my potatoes, just a few handful of vegetables, and then some broth, and then just when everything's about to be done, I throw in the fish just chunked up, and I turn the pot off. And by the time it's cool enough to eat, the fish is done.
Perfect.
I do not continue cooking with the fish because it'll just overcook it, and it's yummy because the fish is still super tender, right? Yeah. And it doesn't disintegrate, and it doesn't get. Yeah, it's just the best. Absolutely the best. Love it.
Yeah, Steve, you're right. I will ask Cameron Tate. Ed McKenzie saying lemon aioli, sunset gourmet sauces. Jeanette is saying that sounds delicious too.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, for one of us who hasn't eaten tonight, I'm getting hungry. So I'm glad the power hour is coming to an end. Unfortunately, as I said, time flies, Lords.
Yeah.
We're going to have to let you go, but thanks so much.
Before I go, check out the Bluefish News. It's all about our salmon on the West Coast and the killer orcas. There they go, a little compromise. And some great research scientists we're working on out there. And next week, there'll be a really cool article in there by Stephen Cook and his research team. Some article and some interviews on tracking large and smallmouth bass after being released during tournaments. Where they go, where do they go, and how long does it take for them to get there? And they've done all the science. It's amazing.
It's amazing, is right. And yes, Kevin, I saw Kevin Christensen's 32-inch that he caught out of the Red River.
Sweet. Best
part about it is he released it. Lawrence, as always, my friend, thanks so much for joining us and I don't know, just educating, entertaining us, making us laugh. We really appreciate it, dude.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity, you guys. And thank you, Scotty. Keep doing what you're doing, my friend.
You as well, brother. Take care. Awesome lad. Absolutely awesome lad. And I love seeing his perspective, hearing his perspective when it comes to how he deals with his disability. Does it sound like a man who is burdened by a disability? No, me either. He is truly inspiring. Before we talk to Jay, let's have a word from his sponsor.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural, man-made. Every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that has scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
J-Dog's in the house. How you doing,
Scotty?
Jay?
It's going good, buddy. How are you doing?
Well, I'll tell you, you know what? I live vicariously through you and Trevor and the rest of your family. The amount of fishing journeys that you guys have, I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. I'm so glad to see you guys out and enjoying it the way you do. You transition from species to species based on your seasons. But for someone who does that, you are more in tune to what's going on with our weather, our waterways, and the fish themselves. Is it just me, or does it seem like our springs and our falls are diminishing in length?
You know what, man? This fall has me for an entire loop. Okay, like I was just checking some of the data from Environment Canada over the past 2 months. So typically for where I live down here in the Southwest, we'll have around, I think it's like 90 millimeters of precipitation for October. And I think we hit 220 millimeters this
We
year.
sure did. Yeah, we sure did.
But then if you go up north, like Port Elgin area, so like Saugeen River, I think their station's actually out of Wyerton. They only got 107 millimeters, which is seasonal. And it's like, so down here we have so much water, Scotty, to the point where it's actually, you know, God, or I'm like a farmer, man. I'm never happy. Too much rain, too little rain, too hot, too cold. But you know what? We just roll with the punches. And so what we did on the weekend was we've had lots of high water down here, and it was time to change it up. And we went to a local creek, and the water was high and dirty. And so instead of actually throwing a drifting roe, which I did drift some roe on the float rod, I had Trevor and his buddy Owen fish with hardware, spinners and crankbaits. And yeah, they smashed him. Absolutely smashed him yesterday. It was great. What sucks is school's the semester's over shortly, and so Trevor's working on geography project this week, and he can't go running back out fishing until his geography project is well drafted, shall I say. Scotty, you've been there, man. You know what I'm talking about. I'm like, hey, man.
Dude, just getting them to school sometimes is half the battle. I'm trying to find one of the comments here. He was a farmer, and I can't seem to find it. But they're having issues as farmers. The fields are soaked. I drove
they're
up.
So wet. Like, there was actually a really good public service announcement I seen recently to be wary of farmers because they're using roads more to have to offload and onload grain from the fields, and because like down where I am, man, to follow a tractor halfway to work is not uncommon. It's fine. Doesn't bother me one bit. You know, and I grew up on a farm down here in Norfolk for most of my life, lived on it. And I'm going to tell you, they're struggling right now. Like what's been good this year is without a frost, which is still surprising even for down here, without a frost, they're still able to work. They're still a viable product to get off the fields, but there's still lots of fields full. I see Alicia's comment there. Soybeans.
100%. I'm with you. Every time I drive by, I'm going, it gets harvest time. They got to harvest this. Like the frost is right around the corner. You got to get this stuff out of the ground.
Yeah. And so looking at the long range forecast, like, you know, so we went through this whole thing of rain. So what happened, Scotty, was we're going through what's this La Nina phase, which is this cooling of the Pacific. And so it's the opposite of El Nino. Okay. So what it did to us was the jet stream became very augmented. So we were getting round after round of precipitation towards the Great Lakes, especially the lower Great Lakes, not so much upper, but so Lake Erie and some of these rain fronts just hovered over the North Shore of Lake Erie. Like there was some of them that stalled over us. Like there's a weather station in Tilsonburg and there's one here. They're 20 minutes apart. There's a 30 millimeter difference in rain between Delhi and Tilsonburg. It's amazing. And so
I believe it.
But what's happened now is looking at the long range forecast, and I know it's a forecast. Okay. I know that, you know, we can make fun of meteorologists all we want, but for the next 2 weeks, there's barely any rain in the forecast. And it's going to be like, dude, I saw blue sky yesterday for the first time, I think in a week, blue sky yesterday. So I really think that I'm happy for the farmers now, because now if they get some, there will be some frost, but for the product they're pulling off the field, some frost ain't going to be bad right now. but they're able to get off the field if we can just stay away from the rain for a bit. And what's really funny about all this rain is all these Southern Ontario rivers, Scotty, the fish are moving now too. So what's happened is 2 weeks ago, a lot of the rivers the water temperatures were in the 60s. Now we're into the 50s and high 40s. And what's funny is the flows haven't changed a whole lot. We've had lots of water, but now the fish are moving. They steelhead need rain and water level, but they also need cold or cool. And so the fish are on the move. So just everyone should get a heads up. They're moving fish. There's fish moving everywhere. Every major river in Southern Ontario, especially that's had rain, has fish in it. Even if there was rain a month ago, fish moved up and are holding. So it's a good time to get out if you're going to do that. I can't recommend it enough. So what we did this week, though, Scotty, because of the high water, is I introduced Trevor. So everyone, we use a lot of Vibrex spinners, Scotty. So everybody, a lot of guys have been asking what we were using. So I'll show you. So this is Trevor's, was my spinner box. Now it's Trevor's spinner box, but he helps himself. So things like this. So a number 3 Vibrex, that's like a green body on it. Okay. We'll use, but not even, even just a good old gold-bladed one. Yeah. Number 3 is pretty good for us. I find a number 4 is a little too big and heavy because some of the creeks we're fishing are fairly small. But let me show you the secret weapon yesterday.
Oh, quick fish.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what I do on these though is I increase the hook size by 1 and I put a big split ring on there. See that big split ring?
Yeah.
It gives the hook, it dangles behind the bait more. See how it actually goes past that bait?
Yeah.
Right? So when those steelhead, so the way we fish these, Scotty, is we don't actually cast it and retrieve. In the river, what we'll do is we're going to put this on a rod, maybe around, the one we're using is an 8-foot Fenwick medium action. It's rated 8 to 15 pound test, so it's almost a medium heavy. We put this thing on a leader with about 2 split shot, maybe about 6 inches in front of it. And we just drop this in the creek in front of something, in front of a boulder, in front of a log jam, in front of just something to hold fish. And this thing just agitates. And I have to explain how Trevor is a believer in these now, because he used to look at these, Scotty, and be like, Dad, that is the stupidest looking bait, Dad. Why would I use that bait? So true story. He was sitting on the bank yesterday. He's using a spinner, had a steelhead come out of a log jam and go back in the log jam. So I said, Trevor, try the quick fish. He's like, oh, Dad, I don't try that quick fish. It looks kind of dumb. I said, no. Try it. He didn't even move. He just sat on the bank. So he's sitting on the bank, and it's kind of a steep bank. So he's kind of got his feet down, and the log jam's right in front of me. He just reties, puts the quick fish on, drops it in right at his feet, lets out about 3 feet of line. As soon as that quick fish got about a foot down where he couldn't see anymore with the water clarity, I'm not joking. This rainbow was easily over 10 pounds, came out, grabbed the quick fish, took off back in the log jam, cartwheeling. It went under a log, over a log, cartwheel, and then I thought he broke it off. It didn't break off. Trevor actually straightened the hooks out because we're using 20-pound braid and 12-pound leader because it's combat fishing. You got to keep those fish out of those log jams. And we one of those hooks came back half straightened out. So, and then we proceeded that day to catch more doing that same technique. So I taught the boys, and a lot of guys will call it plug-in or hot shotting. It's a kind of a West Coast technique, but these lures are great in these medium-sized to small streams, especially when you have lots of wood cover. That these baits actually float, so you don't need a lot of split shot to get them to go down. You just want it to go down far enough, and you don't have to let it disappear too far. In fact, the one fish Owen caught yesterday, I watched it come up and swipe at Trevor's 3 times where it actually would come up. You can imagine this. Here's the lure, okay? And this steelhead would come up under from the log jam and swipe at it and go back down. And that steelhead did it 3 times. 3 times that fish did it. On the 4th time, I had Owen come in with a different color one. So he was using one of these. They're all
Poor
full.
Ed is freaking out. You're giving away all you're giving away all the secrets, he says.
Yeah. So Owen put the blue and chrome on, first drift through. That same fish came up and just smoked it. Then what happened was this fish took off downriver, and poor Owen, he's 14, he's kind of tall and skinny, and this fish gets down around this log jam. And I'm thinking, Scotty, I took my stuff off except for the waders. I was thinking about like picking him up and like walking him through this deep hole. He just dug his heels in, kept that rod bent, and that fish actually turned and came back up river, and we landed it.
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Wow.
And Trevor caught his first coho on a spinner, and we caught lots of resident browns in these streams. Because a lot of the streams down our way that are fishable, these are all like people ask me, like, are you fishing in a legal area? I'm like, yeah, this is all fall fishing. I would not fish in an illegal area. But these streams are full of resident browns that you can catch all fall as well. So it's just a fun day. Just a fun day, man. And the water was super high. I took center pin. I caught one steelhead, one small rainbow, and a couple resident browns. I mostly coached the boys with the hardware, and the hardware by far was the choice.
Interesting. Well, we were talking about weather events, and obviously water has gone up. It's gotten a little bit cloudier because of the runoff. But I was going to ask you, Jay, obviously in rivers, it's a little bit different. Fish aren't as affected by these cold fronts as, say, a lake fish. But do these cold fronts, and you're right, some of them have they've stalled over southern Ontario, at least some areas of southern Ontario, and have dropped an incredible amount of rain. But those cold fronts in the fall, do they have the same effect on the fish as ones that pass in the summer?
No, I don't think so. And actually, I remember talking with Will Wegman about this a long time ago. And he brought up a great point to me that stuck. In the summer, not every summer, but let's say a typical summer, you're going to get 3 days, maybe 4 days of high pressure, stable weather. Okay. Lots of heat, lots of sun, lots of bluebird sky. And then you'll get a storm come through. You get a thunderstorm come through. That's your front. That's your change. And then it changes. In the fall, as the seasons go from late summer into fall, and then further into the fall, these fronts can be like every 2 days or every day. Like, look at the weather the last few weeks where there has been no stable weather. Mm-hmm. I'm not joking. I saw the sun the first time yesterday, I think in a week. These fronts happen so often that I think the fish become more accustomed to it, Scotty. I really believe that. And I think that the fish tend to feed more regularly in the fall, not just to fatten up for winter, but it's also because these fronts don't have them off as much. Their behavior changes a bit. Because if these barometric, and I know the jury's out on how much barometric pressure impacts fish, but weather can impact fish behavior and fish location. There's different behavior patterns. But when the weather is constantly unstable, the fish kind of adjust to that and they just kind of live with it. Does that make sense, Scotty?
It does, totally, 100%.
Yeah.
It was brought up, and it was something that I was thinking about this weekend as I was seeing all the walleye caught, over Facebook and social media with prices. And I'm talking about all prices, not just the price of fish, but the price of being able to go and target fish. Fuel costs are going through the roof, food costs, everything's going through the roof. Do you see a real trend starting this winter when it comes to people keeping fish, that people are going to perhaps more?
I think so. I think there's going to be a real change in society just for being more self-sufficient. Like, you're going to see more people eating fish, more people probably taking up fishing as a form of subsistence living. You're going to see stuff like more chickens in backyards, Scotty. You're going to see, people are just like, look at the cost of, and I don't want to get political, but the cost of living and inflation right now in the pandemic, it's not going to get any better. And none of us are getting more money, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go there, but I'm just saying it's going to change things. And I do agree to a point of what Lawrence is talking about, where more people are going to eat fish, right? So
100%. Oh, Ed's giving out some secrets now.
I see it. Ed, now Ed, I
Yes.
didn't give it all away. You're giving the juice, buddy.
Yeah,
You are giving the juice.
that's a good one.
So-
I'm not even a steelheader, and I know that's a good secret. But yeah, pay attention to that. Write that down. That is definitely a good one.
We'll cover that. Ed, we'll have you on again. We're gonna do some steelhead talk later for the spring for sure. We'll do some steelhead talk. Absolutely. So
what we're going to be doing, Jay, and I know I talked about it with you, is perhaps maybe re-airing our steelhead segment, our 4-part steelhead segment. We might do that perhaps maybe this week or maybe next week. I'm not 100% sure, but want to keep you in the loop. So when we go to air, I'm not sure if we can somehow broadcast it and still be able to answer questions, but I'm going to look into that.
Let's talk about that. There's just so much going on right now. Like, some of the comments tonight have been great. Actually, it's got me thinking about what we could be talking about, because there's so many topics. We're not short on topics. It's just a matter of how we want to start, right? So
absolutely.
Preparing for ice fishing. That's something we should be doing right now. Don't wait. Get do your inventories now. Do your charging of your batteries now. What's tough, Scotty, is, and this is like, what do they say? First world problems. The tough part of fishing for every species you can, like Trevor and I do, is damn, man, there's no break. Like I got bass rods from Lake Erie out in the garage 2 weeks ago that I will not put away for another month because I might go. It might happen.
Yeah.
These transition times of the years are kind of fun, where I'm chasing. Yeah, I know, because Alicia and TJ are determined to get us out again, which is great. I want to, but you don't know about the weather and how that's going to impact us, and that's part of the fun of fall fishing. And whether you're chasing steelhead, whether you're going out for those, I see a few guys are getting loaded up to go to Quinty right now, right? Quinty's going to be heating up soon, but I think it's going to be it's going to be maybe not an early winter, but I think like fall has hit us with a vengeance now. Like it's single digit highs this week and next week, -2, -3, and that's here. That's where I live, and I'm in the banana belt. Just so everybody knows, I'm literally a 10-minute drive from the North Shore of Lake Erie. It is cooling down for sure, and I hope we get into some ice fishing. And actually, I saw a comment earlier, and I saw you mention earlier, Scotty. John Rodsky's on tonight. John is the long-running president of the Long Point Bay Anglers Association, good friend of ours from Long Point. And so I just want to give a shout out to John. And if any of you are on it, you know what? I'm going to share it over in the chat because I can. If any of you want to follow a great group, and it's kind of fall to the wayside a little bit because of COVID and some of the restrictions, but the Long Point Bay Anglers Association, if I could find it here, there it is. The Long Point Bay Anglers Association has done a ton of work for decades down here. They were actually one of the first live release boats in Ontario, Scotty, and John has been a huge advocate of that association. And we have been very fortunate to be so many live release tournaments down here, and just want to give a shout out to John and the Long Point Bay Anglers, because we like grassroots associations like that.
Absolutely.
So, John, thanks for joining us. And John, if I know you're listening, because let's hope this COVID stuff's behind us. My new Eskimo 450 XD has room for at least 4 people in it. So when the perch are biting in Long Point this winter off St. Williams, and we can't afford gas to drive anywhere else, you're welcome in our ice hut. We're going to go ice fishing. That's an invite to you, John, personally.
Right on. Well, welcome to the show, John. Thanks for all the hard work that you do and have done and continue to do. It's folks like you that steer us in the right direction and make sure that we have fish for the future.
Yeah,
Jay,
absolutely.
as always, dude, the time just seems to fly, man. It's amazing how fast the hour goes. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention before we leave you?
No, I just want to, everyone just get out and enjoy what we can. Like dress for the weather. Lawrence brought up floater suits for steelheading. Invest in some good waders, some good Gore-Tex clothing. And it's a good investment. I know it's costly investment, but it's a good investment. It'll last you a long time, and it'll keep you outdoors and enjoying it. So dress for success when it comes to fall fishing, because fall fishing, this is some of the most rewarding and awesome times of the year. Just be prepared for the worst at the time. And before you know it, we'll be ice fishing, even down here. Fingers crossed.
Right on, brother. You
Thanks,
take
buddy.
care, man. Thanks for doing this each and every Monday. Can't thank you enough, man.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Take care, dude. All the best.
See ya.
Well, that's it for today's show. Just a quick reminder, we do have a North Shore Tackle contest going on. Ice fishing is just around the corner. So as a quick reminder, as we leave you tonight, I want to thank everybody who joined us and shared where their first hardwater adventure is going to be. If you haven't, make sure you put it in the comments. We'd all like to find out where you're going to be heading when the hard water sinks in and starts to harden up. But we are getting geared up. We are putting stuff away that perhaps we used in the summer, but we're getting ready for the winter. And if you are, and you're looking for a good plastic as an option for your hard water season and you love fishing for walleye, this one is probably one of my favorite from North Shore Tackle. This is their shad. I'll leave you with this video. Have a look. In the meantime, guys, good luck with the contest. Enjoy your week. Stay classy, stay safe, and we'll see you next Monday. All the best. Peace.